author of the Hollow Man series, owner of Hollow Man Publishing and American VBA. Paul, how are you? I know you're excited about our guest.
We have a wonderful writer today, Bina Valentine, and she is a romance writer and a very good one. And so, welcome,
Thank you,
Mina.
Paul.
Hey, Mina, appreciate you coming by. We were talking about why you write historical romance novels, and you're a fan of them. You've read a lot of them, so kind of explain.
I've read eons of them, and some of the writers are better than others. I like them all. Some of them have a good plot, but the writing in itself isn't good, or the writing is good, but the plot or the information within it is historically incorrect. And I noticed that a lot. Now, there are some very good historical romance writers that are impeccable about what they put in there and are right on the money. And that's what I do when I write. I was telling you, I spend about 90% of my time doing research, and about 10% of my time writing. For instance, this takes place in the book I'm writing right now, takes place in 1795. And they're at a small dinner party. And so I'm looking up how many courses they would have served, what kind of food they would have served. Would they have served it? There's two words for it, La Russe or La Francais, I think is what it is. And one of them is where everything's on the table and you just scramble and get your own. And the other one is where the footman comes around and serves you individually. They started that around the time this book is written. So I went ahead and wrote that. But I want to make sure everything's right, even coming down to the silver service. And that I think that entails a lot of research, but it also ingratiates the reader to the time. Sometimes they may have to look up the food because some of the food is a little strange. They ate a lot of things that I wouldn't even touch today, like boiled tongue. That doesn't sound very
No, that doesn't sound good at all.
No, it doesn't. But the research makes a difference. And I enjoy that with I mean, I'm not touting my degrees, but I'm just saying with the degrees I've had and all the research that I've had to do in conjunction with those degrees, makes me pretty good at that. Sometimes you really have to dig to find what you're looking for. Some of the information you may be looking for isn't there because of the time. There was a big fire, and I'm writing about that in this book. And I know about exactly where the streets were that were involved in the fire. I know how many people were homeless, how many people lost their businesses, but I don't know how many people died. And people did die because in the paper at that time, there's just one little paragraph that said it was excruciating to see little children crying over their parents and parents crying over their lost children. So people did die, but the sad thing is they didn't really record it because it was the poor section of town. So
That's really interesting. And other little things, right?
yes. I know who donated how much money for these rebuilding. They put up tents and donated food for them, those kind of things, but nothing about the deaths. It's kind of sad, really, that they didn't find the necessity to record deaths.
Did you ever think of reaching out to some of these authors and saying it's inaccurate for the romances?
No,
Historical romance?
embarrass anybody like that. Never. Um, no, I wouldn't do that. But I did write one, and I said the story is wonderful. Your characters are very well developed, but your grammar and your punctuation is so poor. You might want to think about getting an editor, because my publisher has a great editor, and I'm happy to say, and I'm very partial to her. I don't want anyone else.
It's interesting that these editors, where do you, so you saw some books you've purchased, you've seen editors that are just not very good at editing the books. Wow.
I don't know if they even had editors. You know, you get a lot of these indies, and they may or may not even hire one.
And that's the craziest thing.
Yes.
Indies that think I could just publish on Amazon, but never hire an editor. And someone who's a reader like you spots it and says, okay, I'm putting that book down.
Yeah. Or it's not enjoyable. It's difficult for me. Maybe for some people it's not, but for me, I'm so busy noticing all the mistakes that I get lost.
You got your red pen out.
Yeah, yeah, more or less.
Professor, I got that red pen marking up the whole research paper. But you're doing that to the book.
Yeah. But I have books on furniture of the time. I have books on food. I have rifles, horses. I have so many books on every. There may be one little chapter from a book that's something I need. I'll buy the book. I keep the books because
That's very smart.
Yeah, I keep the books because I continue to write. So I want to make sure.
Do you have a historical romance novelist it's your favorite?
Yes, I do. I like Scarlett Scott. And there was another one that got me hooked, and I apologize to the woman for not remembering her name. I started reading her. Isn't that terrible that I don't remember her name? Next week, what you ask me, and I'll tell you. But I started reading her, and then I started reading other writers and found Scarlett Scott. She's a lot more spicy, I think, than most of them, but I enjoy her stories.
Are you familiar? Well, I just interviewed today on my show a paranormal romance novelist.
Really? That's
yes,
cool.
And they said they're very popular.
Yes, they are.
Where like Frankenstein with a real woman or something like that, or that type of stuff. It's crazy. Or a vampire with
I did read. There was I don't even remember the woman's name, but she was selling like little chapters of her story in for like 99 cents. You buy it, and I thought the storyline was fair, but I wanted to see how it ended. I was curious. I don't think people are doing that much anymore. It's the whole book or nothing.
And that's interesting. But I'm just intrigued. And we have somebody that I'm talking to her, such beautiful covers. Oh my goodness, like of werewolves and stuff like that. And she said she learned how to do it. And she was impressive. I had her on my show today, and I'm like, wow. But it's always intriguing to hear people in their creativity. And I said, do you enjoy doing that? She says,
yeah.
She does. And that's where I hope AI never eliminates a creative person, because our creative. I'm hoping we don't want. We don't want singularity. That's for sure.
I know that.
Go ahead.
That AI can give you a person's suggestions, but I tried it once or twice, and I ended up going, huh? No. It didn't work for me, and maybe it'll work for some others, but it didn't work for me.
Well,
But I have a lot of,
I have an idea for for a book, for a romance book.
yeah.
AI dating a human being, an AI romance.
Oh, no.
Artificial.
Well, that's like,
Remember Elon's creating a like a Barbie bot or whatever those bots. I mean, we see that as a meme where
yeah,
it's a robot woman,
yes, yes.
full, AI and all that. But you
Well,
have to,
we still have to reproduce. I think we still need to populate the species. So the
well,
robot might work for some things,
the
but I
next
don't.
time we're going to be on the air, we
Yes,
found out the website, Mina Valentine, but it's going to be minavalentine.com. The easiest thing in the world. Just go to minavalentine.com. That's simple. And
yes,
purchase your book today. It'll be
right.
available in pre-order once the website's up, and that's going to be very, very soon. We'll be working around the clock for that, Mina.
I
All right.
hope so because I'm watching up.
I don't sleep. I live down here now. Okay.
Yes,
My
right.
studio. Right. And just do a
Yeah.
podcast 24/7. But we appreciate it, Mina. Thank you
Thank you.
again.
Thank you much.
All right. You're listening and watching.